everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
Welcome back, and thank you very much for coming. We'll blame Craig for that one because it was working fine till he joined us. But hey, a few gremlins. Oh, you got to love technology, haven't you? Anyway, you are, and we'll try this again. Fingers crossed it'll work this time. You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV. It kind of works. I don't know what's going on tonight, but welcome along. Normally Friday 7:30 we have got the opposition view show, but we've got no opposition this weekend, although at the rate it's going, we might not have any opposition next weekend either. So we've got a bit of a special, and what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be choosing our, not our favourite, but our strongest formation and strongest lineup when everybody is fit. And if you look at the squad we've got, it is an amazing squad, and we're where we are at the moment, which is first in the Premier League, first in our Europa League group, with what at times has been our third string team. So we're going to say today, try and put together our strongest 11, and just to prove to any ladies that are watching that men can multitask, we are going to be in two places tonight, as we are every week now. If you're watching on YouTube, it's Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe and like the videos, please, and join in. And if you were on Facebook, well, you were just in the group, Facebook, Leicester Till I Die. Remember to click on the link for StreamYard. It means you just brings your name up and we can see who we're talking to. And if not, stick your name at the end and we can give you a shout out. So Rob McFarlane, good evening, Rob. And thanks a lot for coming back with us. Nice to have you back. Thanks for sticking with us. And talking of sticking with us, I'm just going to get rid of that there. I've got all three chums meeting in one place. It's like a meeting of the Doctor Who's here. So we'll say good evening to my post-match chum, Brad. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
Well, I'm all right now. We've got it working.
Yeah.
So Brad, what? Tell us, you've got a little something else going on this tonight, haven't you?
Yes, so some of you may have seen something like this before, and as you can see on the screen, it's remember the game. What I'm going to do is through the show is Chris is going to pop the clues up on the screen as well, and I'm going to read them out. You can get 5 clues through the evening, through the show, and there'll be little hints as to what happened in that game, facts about that game. And if you think you know what it was, and if you can get the bonus point at the score line, you know, just a little bit of fun for you guys where you'll get clues for the evenings. And if you guess it, obviously Chris knows the answer because I had to tell him that so he can make a note. But if you want to guess in the comments down below, get guessing in the comments down below when the questions and clues come up, and he'll give you a shout out if you get it right.
I am just going to say one of the caveats on that is we are going to need the date, because otherwise you can just keep naming teams all along. So
yeah. Well,
we need the date.
I got the date for you in the end, didn't I?
You did. I've got the date. So that'll be coming up in a minute. 5 clues as the evening go along. Hopefully you'll do better than me, because I was nowhere near getting it. Let's say hello to Mark. Good evening, Mark.
Morning, Chris. Morning, Chris. Evening, Chris. How are you?
Morning. Are you on nights? I know you got a new job, and congratulations for that. But nice to have you along. And of course, we're going to be picking our strongest 11 and strongest formation. And I really, really hope that you have kept a little space there for Inacho to come in this evening.
There is a space for him, most definitely, on the bench.
I won't ask where it is. I've got a soft spot for him. It's a swamp at the bottom of the garden. But hey, let's not go there. Thanks for joining us, Mark. And if
No
Mark
problem.
has to go suddenly, it's because of his new job. So hopefully he will stay with us, but we'll see how the evening progresses. So back in a minute, Mark. And finally, the troublesome one of the three, the third of the three amigos. Good evening to you, Craig.
Evening, Chris. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
Now you were saying
Ready
actually
for,
just off
ready for
air.
the weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
we all. But we were talking just before we came live, and you were saying that this is actually harder to do than sort of ask the difficult questions like regarding the Gang of Four with Barry Pierpoint the other night.
Definitely. In front of me. I've got 4 different formations and lineups, and I think I've chosen one. But we'll see as the evening goes on.
Well, you can change, but brilliant. Yep. So I'll come back in a second, Craig. So welcome along to say Brad, Mark, and Craig there. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, the idea is first thing we're going to do is pick out a formation. We've got 3 chums. I don't get a vote unless it's 3 different ones. Hopefully, we'll either have a majority of 3 or a 2-1, and we'll come up, like I say, with our strongest team. Not sure who said this because it's just coming up as Facebook user, and he's already gone for Casper, Castagna, Fafana, Evans, Fuchs, Pereira, Mendy, Luke, Maddie, Vardy, and under. So there's one to get us thinking. I mean, some of the positions are going to be really, really easy, but some of them I think it's going to be a tough choice, to be honest with you. And do you stick with the players that are already in and doing well for us, or do you go, oh, that guy's good, he's the best, we will bring him back in? Hey, they've got to choose, not me. But we're going to start with the first clue of the evening. Let's get the game underway. So we'll welcome Brad back in, and let's do guess the game and clue number 1. Go for it, Brad.
Yeah, so the easiest clue, just to get it out of the way there, is this was a Premier League game in the 96-97 season under Martin O'Neill as manager.
We're looking for a game for the 96-97 season. We were in the Premier League, and who was it against? Like I say, don't just start listing every single club and think you're going to win. You're not. And Brad has said, by the way, that whoever gets it right, or the first person to get it right, he will come round and clean your flat.
I don't remember agreeing to this, but
do you not? I have it on tape. I'm
sure you
right.
do.
Okay, mate. So there we go. That was the first clue. Just to reiterate that there, it was against the Premier League team in the 96-97 season. Every time we bring a clue, we'll bring the other ones up as well. So we'll come back to you, Brad. Let's get Craig in and let's have a look. Let's start with the formation. So there's a lot of formations to choose from. There we go. There's just a few to wet your whistle. But I'm sure Craig.
I'm quite pleased that one of mine was there. So, I mean, it's tricky to get everyone in. So I've gone with a 5-4-5. I'm not sure that's allowed, though, is it?
It isn't really. No, I'm just adding that up there. I think you got a few too many players in there. Yeah. Okay, if we went with that, Craig, I think we'd win the league.
We'd find a way not to. I tell you what.
Yeah.
So I've gone for a 4-3-2-1.
4-3-2-1. Interesting. Christmas tree almost.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's like a
blast what was your thoughts behind? What was your thoughts behind? I know. I'm going to say. I think it was. I'm trying to think who was known for his Christmas tree formations. I can't remember now. But thoughts behind that?
Well, I was trying to get the balance between a solid back, but also trying to get our creative players on the pitch. And I went through a few different variations, and there was always at least 2 of the ones that I wanted on the pitch out. So this formation leaves me with sort of one who I think is very harsh that he's not getting a spot, but I'm pretty happy with the rest. That it sort of breaks down almost into a defensive 5 and an attacking 5. So,
well, I mean, you've now seen exactly what problems the manager has every week in trying to keep everybody happy.
I know.
That is the thing. A couple more. I think he will play the diamond formation. Now, is that Craig or is that Brendan? And very good evening to a new viewer, Pam T. Greetings from Chicago. Hello from the Windy
Hello,
City.
Pam.
Is that Chicago?
It is the Windy
City.
Indeed.
It is Windy City, yeah, and that's just not Trump speaking a lot either. So welcome along, Pam. Good to have you along. So Craig, they're gone for a 4-3-2-1. Let's bring Mark in. He's same, or are you going for something different?
Well, that's interesting. He's gone for that. Very interesting. I thought we'd all go the same, but we won't be because mine's different. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he's. So mine's going to be a 5-1-3-1, and that will consist of 3 centre halves, 2 wing backs, a holding midfielder, 3 attacking, and then 1 up front. And the reason I went for that is more for the centre halves. We've got 3 fantastic centre halves at our club that, when we're all fit, I think they'd be unstoppable. It'd be like a mountain to get round them. And that's the reason why I've gone for that formation. And the players that we've got works for my formation and my team selection.
Right. Okay. I think we're going to end up with 3 different ones here. Pam says it's very windy. Again, I don't think that's you, Mark. Don't get upset. I think that's Chicago she's on about. Well, stay safe, Pam. Don't go outside if it's too bad. And Andy, hello, good evening, Andy. How the devil are you? Liverpool played with only 2 midfielders against Man City. So there's a lot of different formations. Some of us old enough to remember when everybody played a 4-4-2. But I don't think that is what Brad is going to go for. So good evening, Brad. Welcome back.
Good evening.
I think you're going to throw another formation into the pot here, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go with a weird one, but sort of how we're lining up at the moment in the natural role they take. I'm going to go with 3 centre halves, and I'm going to have 2 wing backs, so it's going to be a back line of 5.
Okay.
But I suppose it depends on where we agree on the positions, whether that become a 3 solid at the back and a 5 in midfield. But then what I'd do is I'd stick a defensive midfield in front of that, 3 attacking players, and then 2 centre mid players, 1 ahead of them as a centre attacking midfielder, and then a lone striker. I think that's enough numbers. I think I've got my numbers right.
I've got to add this up because Craig confused me right at the start.
7, 8, 9, 10.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, we're dead on there. So you've gone for, it's basically a 5-1-2-1-1. Yeah,
essentially, which might sound weirder in practice, but with the players,
I kind of get where you're coming from. I think, like you say, I think that's a little bit of what he's doing at the moment, which is like, I think the 2 wing backs, like you say, you could watch the same. You could watch on BBC, you could watch it on Sky, and BBC would have 3 at the back, and the wing back across the midfield. Sky would have 5 back. So I can see where you're coming from. So thanks very much for that, guys. That means that I've got to make the decision. So first job here for me. I thought you guys might actually agree, but you're not doing. So I've got to pick a formation out of that and see who I'm going to upset. I think I'm going to have to go because it is the formation that we're kind of playing at the moment. So I think I'm going to go with Brad, which is the 3-5, 1-2-1-1. So I think that's kind of how we're playing at the moment. So is everybody happy with that? Are you happy with that, Craig?
Well, of course not. We're all managers. We all want our own way. We all want our own way. But you have the casting vote, Chris. So we have to
Okay.
go with what our chairman says.
If only, if only. And I've only done that, Mark. Just might be able to sneak in Nacho on there for you. But so yeah, we're going to go with the 5-1-2-1-1. I think that's what we're going to have go with. So
I'll tell you what,
let's
Chris.
start first of all. Sorry,
Chris. What I would
yes.
suggest is once we've got this, maybe at the end we can all give our own teams that we had, because we're all going to lose some players in this formation.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, because you're going to have to move around. Remind me at the end, and then you can all, go with what you would have come up with at the start. Which again will be probably 3. Well, we know it from information. It'll be 3 wildly different teams. But right, so let's just so we're going to go with the 5-1-2-1-1. So Brad will be happy with that. But let's have a look. We are now going to have a look at putting the blocks into the holes, as they say. So we're going to look now, and that's not that formation, but there's a great team there. I think that's probably from last year, because we've got Perez and Nacho up front. Somehow don't think that's going to happen tonight. Who knows? But we have we are now going to put the blocks in the holes, as they say. And just as a reminder, not that you need it, but just have a look at how our team actually how our squad is. Oh, I don't know about you, but when I look at that, I'm thinking, what a bloody strong squad we've got. Just see if we can get all 4 of you in just briefly. Am I right? Is that not a really, really, really good squad?
Yeah, very good squad. We've got a bit of depth now, so it's looking good going forward.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
It is
well.
I would go as far as saying, when you look at that and compare that to the championship winning squad, that was a team made up, as we know, of journeymen, free transfers, rejects. You look at that, and there's a fair few £1 million in that squad now.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think we're all on edge trying to figure out which one who's going to speak first. So
right. Well, let's get the easy position over with now. Unless one of you is going to totally confuse me and get something completely from left field and bring Djukovic in, are we all going with Kasper Schmeichel in goal?
It's a yes from me.
Yes.
Conrad Logan. No, seriously, yeah, Kasper's fine.
That's 3 yeses. You're through to the next round, Kasper. Oh, I tell you what, it's like Britain's Got Talent, but not as beautiful. So we're going to start with Kasper. So that's that, and there's possibly one right up at the other end that might be an easy choice as well. But Andy's just briefly said there, if it will come in. That's a Premier League winning squad. I wouldn't argue with that, Andy, to be honest with you. I wouldn't argue at all. But, let's start with... I'm going to start with Brad, because we went with his choice at the start. You're going with 3 centre-backs.
Yes, I am. And I just...
Yep.
Yeah, and I went with them because it might be seen as a cop out because it might have been more interesting to kind of decide between the three who you'd put there with Craig's formation because he went with back line of four. But I think we've seen that maybe with the youth we've got there in Fofana and who looks years ahead of the game for how long he's been playing it, which isn't long at all, you know, and maybe something we lacked and something we've kind of really addressed over the last 4 games. We've definitely seen is our defensive frailties of maybe getting caught out and conceding a lot from set pieces and we've seemed to have nullified that by adding an extra man in there. And I just think when the likes of like we're doing this for Sayunchu is in there alongside Fofana and Evans, I just think that's a quality back three that can deal with it and allow us to be more attacking, which is why I went with the attacking style wing backs. So
So you're going with Evans, Fofana, and Soyuncu.
Yeah, I just can't look past them as the 3 starts from what I've seen of them. I think that's a strong 3.
I think that is not a bad shout, but we'll see if you if the other guys agree with you. Mark, what do you think for a back 3 or centre back 3? Sorry,
that would have been exactly the same as mine. I think Brad's going with the back 5 that I picked. I think it's going to be exactly the same, but I'd have Evans in the middle, Fofana on the right of that, and Soyuncu on the left. So yeah, definitely the same.
I was thinking probably Evans in the middle because he's obviously got the more experience and he can, help out either side. He said that though, Fofana, he doesn't look, well, he's 20 now. I think he's just had his birthday. He doesn't look like he's 20. He looks like he's about 30, to be honest with you, experience-wise.
Yeah, I mean, the games that he's been thrown into when we've had injuries and he looks the part. He could play in the middle there. Obviously, Evans got the more experience, so I'd put him there. But yeah, Fofana, like Brad says, he's way above his time. We've got a quality defender there, and I think we'll have a lot of big teams coming in for him come the summer. But no, strong back 3. If you can tell me a better back 3 than that in the Premiership at the minute, then
I don't think, like you say, I don't think there is. But right, let's see. Craig, who had 4 at the back, has got to cut it down to 3. Do you agree with that 3, Craig?
When I was looking at having a 3 centre halves as part of a back 5, then that would have been the same 3 in the same positions: Fofana right, Evans middle, and Kaglar on the left. I think it's interesting that when you do play that and you've got Evans to just hold it together, that the 2 others have got a bit of freedom to go forward. And we saw that Fofana is not shy in stepping out with the ball. So, no, I think that's a solid back 3.
Now, Evans, obviously, not obviously, but his contract expires at the end of the season. I know that, the rumours are that we've started negotiations with him. He's allegedly come out and said he wants to finish his career with us. Northern Ireland the other night didn't qualify for the Euros. Do you think he's going to retire from international football and then concentrate with us? And that'd be a good thing for us, would it not?
Yeah, I think he probably will. I mean, you've got another 2-year cycle now to get to the World Cup. So I would imagine that would be the sensible option for him. You saw last night, I only saw a little bit of the game, but even that ball hitting him for their last goal seemed to hurt him. So I think he needs to be wrapped in a bit more cotton wool.
I must admit, I watched about 5 minutes, to be honest with you, but the reports I saw afterwards were that I think Evans was almost sort of Northern Ireland's man of the match. But if he does retire, I think that would definitely be a plus for ourselves.
What might be interesting is the fact that the noises that Tarkowski has been making up at Burnley about the fact that he's not going to sign a new contract, and whether we decide that someone like him is a good almost replacement for Evans in terms of a solid defender who would sit in the middle of a back 3 but would give you probably 3 to 5 years instead of a couple of years of Johnny Evans. But I think that may be a watch this space.
Well, yes, like you say, again, those rumours have been going down, but it's we've not got the window yet. Wait till the window comes along, and then it'll all go mad again. And I think it depends, obviously, as you where Burnley are, which is not in a very nice position at the moment for them,
No.
anyway. But okay, so I'm just going to let's bring Brad back in, and let's have clue number 2, Brad. Which, if I've done my list correctly here. Ah, thank God for that. Clue number 2, Brad.
Yeah, clue number 2, the opposition that we played on the day in question, they were actually on their way towards a record. To give it more depth in that, they were on for a record equal. They were going to equal a record at that point when playing us, and failed to do so when playing us. So yeah, the team that we played against were on for a record. I think it was a club record. I'm not sure. I had to double check it. And I couldn't find clarity on it, but they were on for a record. And after they finished playing us, that was no longer the case. The record was ended. They didn't reach it.
Okay, so let's now go back. Right wing back. Again, I think this is possibly going to be everybody agrees, but let's have a look.
See, it might not be, and I
Ooh.
am going to go with the one that everybody's thinking. But the problem is, we've yet to see a certain Timothy Castagne on the left, which is where we all assumed he would play until Pereira got in. Until we realised Pereira's injury was longer than what it is. Now, going off what we've seen, I think still Pereira gets that right wing back for me. But it does beg the question on the left side with a player. I think maybe I have to rethink who's going to go on my left side, because I had someone else, and now I kind of just been thinking about it now. We forget Timothy Castagne has become a bit of a cult hero, but Ricardo Pereira is probably as stronger on the right side, despite the fact that Castagne's done so well there.
I think Castagne he was bought, I think, like you say, to fill that left side. And I think it's a case of we'll come on to that position obviously next. But yeah, so we are going for Pereira.
Yeah, he does take it, but I did have to remind myself that Castagne has played there, and if I was going off current form, we're building this on a fully fit side. But if we were building for what we've seen this season, I don't think Pereira would be in there because he's not played. But yes, for me, Pereira has to go there.
This is we are presuming that we can wave a magic wand and everybody's fit.
If I had a winger, if I had put a winger with my formation, I might have put Pereira on the right wing and gone with Castagne at right back. But for the formation I went with, Pereira is where I'm going with it.
Okay, so Craig, do you agree with that?
I do. I think it's a travesty that the guy whose formation you chose still doesn't know now. I think it's terrible, Brad. Anyway,
a dissent amongst the troops.
It's Ricardo. I think aside from Terence Trent-Arnold, I think any team in the Premier League would take Ricardo. So yeah, he's a definite in there for me.
Yep. Okay. And Mark, are we going to make it a full house or?
Yeah, we'll make it a full house, and I agree with Craig as well. I think it's a travesty. Still chopping and changing on his side. It's poor yeah, 100%.
Look, I'm trying to make it on what I've seen them play. I can go with Castagne for my left wing back, but I've not seen him play on that side. We don't know. He might not handle it as well as he's done on the right. That's all I was saying. But he is there, just to clarify. For me, anyway.
This sounds like the talk of a caretaker manager to me.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Well, they did call me the thin Shakespeare back in the day, but I'm not saying anything else.
Shakespeare as in to be or not to be, or Shakespeare as in the coach?
As in the coach, probably. Definitely not etiquette enough for Shakespeare William.
Yeah. Right, let's go to Mark and see who you'd put in that left position now that we filled the right. So the left wing back, Mark.
Christian Fuchs.
Fuchs. Now, that's interesting. So you were going for Fuchs, not saying over Castagne, you might have other plans for him, but reason for Fuchs?
The reason being, Castagne, he started off really well. He did. When he first came, we thought, wow, what a player. But then
Yes.
after that, he kind of levelled out a little bit, and we didn't really see that much from him. And we've only seen him at right back, so we haven't seen him. So Brad's quite right. We haven't seen him at left back yet. Fuchs has been in the side just recently. If you in the papers, I think it was on Sky Summit, the hottest players in the Premier League right now, Christian Fuchs was one of them. He hasn't let it down. He can still bomb forward, and he's a steady pair. And he's, naturally left-footed. You could put Luke Thomas is one for the future. But because I haven't seen Castagna in the left-back position, and we all know what Fuchs can do, Fuchs gets the vote from me.
Do you think, and Fuchs is playing really well, and I think it's good that we're not necessarily going for the ones that we think we should be going for. He's played 4 games. Would he last? And we're going like they say, this is a fully fit team. Do you think he would last the season?
Possibly not, Chris. But that's where squad depth comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah,
If we took him out for the cup games, and and every now and again we give him a little rest, he wouldn't last a full season playing every single game. No, I don't. No, he wouldn't. But then we've got Luke Thomas there. We've got James Justin that can play there. We've got play there. So our squad depth is fantastic. But for me, he would be a starter. And
do you think he's still got the legs to do that position?
Yeah, 100%. If you've watched him in the last few games, he's still got energy. He can still get up and down the pitch, and he's a defender as well. What he is good at, he can go forward. He's no Chilwell. Don't get me wrong. He's not as fast or as he can't do that. But he's a steady pair of legs, and he can defend as well. He can defend. I think he's a better defender than young Luke, and we don't know about Castagna, so we can't really compare him to that. So Fuchs for me.
Okay, Fuchs for you. Well, talking of legs, Craig.
You said you were going to keep that secret, Chris, but I've got to admit, Mark, I'm surprised there. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Fuchs has got in first, but I'm surprised that if you didn't go with Castagna, that James Justin wasn't in front of him. To be honest, I think Fuchs has been a great servant, and I think that left side of a back three suits him a lot now. My worry on Fuchs would be the recovery runs, and that's why Castagna or James Justin would be in front of Fuchs for me, and Castagna would just pip James Justin. He's the one. James Justin, I think, has done great. He's had a dodgy moment here or there because he's a young player, but wherever we've played him right back, we've played him left back, we've played him on the right side of a back three. I think he's been a fantastic signing for him, and he's unfortunate to not make the cut, but I think I would have to just tip Castagna.
Well, we are now down to deciding votes. So let's bring Brad in. Now, is he going to go for Justin and make it a 3-way split, or are you going to go for Castagna or Fuchs, Brad?
I have got a person, so you won't need to get involved, Chris. I will be picking out one and two. And I agree with both points that were made, but on the edge of the fact that I mentioned it in our last match preview, our aftermath after our last game, and I mentioned it a lot with a few players of that sort of age and caliber with their experience when they've come on or they've had to start games. I'm gonna give Christian Fuchs the starting left wing back position.
Wow.
For the fact that, exactly like Mark said under the point that I made, we've not seen Castagna on that left yet. If I'd have seen him on the left and he was just as good as what he'd been on the right, I would have. I'm sorry, Craig. You make a good point.
You see, you got to remember, guys. Sorry, just say it, guys. You got to remember that as you lot are talking, I can still see how the faces that everybody else is pulling. And I think Craig was actually pulling his hair out there.
The only reason is.
No, go on, Craig.
The only reason I would have gone my way is if you were playing a back four, I think a more defensive player in a four I could take. If you're playing a back three, to have another more defensive player just seems a bit of an overload for me, personally.
No, I understand that, but I think with the way, like we mentioned earlier, the way Sionchu and Fofana, especially with Evans being in that back three, have more of a creative freedom to push forward. We know with his experience, Fuchs can handle that defensive line and fill that gap if they push forward and get caught out. And let's not forget that coming into the back end of last season, a few Leicester fans, and it was only a small majority, but they started getting on the back of Justin for his mistakes. And I think you can see the improvement that he's made since the end of last season when he first burst onto the scenes has got to have come from somewhere. And that comes from someone being told to put an arm around him and give them their years of experience. And what man plays on that side of the field that we have that can give him them years of experience that clearly have helped develop him into a player he has? Mentor Fuchs. And I'm telling you, that's the reason. And a lot of people have stated it's been pivotal to Fuchs being in this team to where we are now. The likes of Fuchs and Morgan staying in our squad as a squad player. And that's why, while I agree that Justin long term and through the season would be more capable of playing every game, I'm not saying he's not right. And I do understand where, Craig makes some fantastic points. But with what Mark said, that gave it the edge for me because I was more on Fuchs at that point anyway. But I think he made the stronger argument for me on that one. I'm going to say Christian Fuchs takes a left wing back.
Yeah, I think we're obviously pleased that we've got Morgan and Fuchs signed down, but I think it was a case of like, where the hell do we go if we didn't have those? But yeah, so Fuchs fills the left wing back slot. Okay, Mark, let's stick. Brad, let's stick with you to start this one off. Defensive midfielder, I think you'd gone for after this, hadn't you?
Yeah, and I think this is easy, even though Mendy's done brilliant since he's had to step in, and he will be in for another couple of weeks, and probably even after he's recovered, he'll come back in. But I think it's obvious it's Ndidi, because like the reason I chose Fuchs over Justin, the reason Mendy's improved is because he's been working with the person who's was already at that level of quality and still is ahead of him. I think he still offers some more. He can lock defenses a bit better than Mendy. He maybe still does things a lot better than Mendy, and that's Wilfred Ndidi goes into central defensive midfield for everything that he's done.
Agree with that, Mark?
Yes, indeedy.
Oh, somebody had to say it. Somebody had to say it. Well done there, Mark. Getting it in there. Boom. So yeah, Ndidi for you, even of the way Mendy's been playing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mendy. He's done all right, but it's a no-brainer for me. Wilfred Ndidi every day of the week.
Right. Well, let's see if we're going to have a full house with this one then. Craig, are we making it 3 out of 3?
I'm slightly shocked, given his love of experience, that Brad didn't try and put Morgan into the defensive midfield spot. But I'm gonna go with Wilf. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed, he gets it for me.
I think, to be honest with you, I just hope, and obviously the worry is when somebody's been out for as long as they have with an injury, how they will come back. Will they come back the same player that we used to have? I think Rodgers has learned not to rush players back. So I think when he does come back, he will be eased in. But there is always that worry, isn't there, that, they're still going to be the same player.
You've probably got the same with Ricardo as well. He's he's been out even longer. So I think there's always that. But I think this day and age, it's more rare. I think that players have a second breakdown. Matty James aside, who unfortunately seems to break down every time he gets close to football, but at least he's getting some game time for Barnsley now. I don't think the rush players back. I think that strength of the squad that you highlighted at the start means that we don't have to rush people back and we can ease them in. So I think we'll be seeing Ricardo and Wilf getting 20 minutes here and there just to ease them in. But when everyone's fit, I think you can't look beyond Ndidi.
No, like you say, I think Rodgers has proved that. Like I say with Maddison, he's done the right thing in easing them back in, and it's nice that we have that squad that allows him to do that. But right, so we're back to now the central midfield too, and that didn't work when I clicked it. That did. But before we do that, Brad, I think it's time for, just trying to search for it, clue number 3, which I'm hoping. I know I'm going to press the wrong one and bring the answer up by mistake, but go for clue number 3, Brad.
Yeah, so clue number 3, 2 years later, from 1996, so if that helps with what side of the season it was, 2 years after that, one of the opposition players missed a crucial penalty for his national side in the World Cup. So if you can guess that, you might figure out who it was we played, if you can figure that one out.
And it's not easy because, of course, we have a multitude of nationalities in each of the teams. Since even back then. So yeah, 2 years after this game, one player would go on to miss a penalty for his national team. The team we played was going for a record, and it was against the Premier League team in the 96-97 season. It'd be interesting to see if anybody else, Craig or Mark, know this. I bet Craig does, secretly. I bet Craig does. But Brad, let's get back to the team. We've got 2 central midfielders to go for.
Yes, and the reason I went with the layout of the formation I did when I wrote this down is because I don't think there's a way you can play all 3 of the midfielders that I'm going to put forward in a line of 3. I think you need one of them in front, and that will be obvious when we get there. So my shout for the two midfielders is Dennis Pratt and Yuri Tillemans. They will be my shouts for that. They're my 2 for that spot, because I think there's a certain name that will come up later on that can't play in that one, plays in front, and that's why I've got one of my midfielders. That's why I had them.
They also know each other from Belgium, and
exactly, you've got the Belgian connection, the Belgian buns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, they can speak to each other. They can. I'm just going to sort of. Yeah. Rob, I'm not sure what you were replying to there, but I say yes, you are guessing the team. So Rob has gone for Aston Villa. So let's remember that. Is it right? Well, we'll see when we go further on. And Andy Medhurst disagrees with you at this point. He's gone for he's agreed with you. He's just put them the way around. Oh, I haven't been sleeping, guys. That's my excuse. He's gone for Tillemans and Pratt, the well-known alternative midfield to Pratt and Tillemans. So let's see what Mark. Do you agree with that, or do you go for something else?
Well, because we're having to go for this formation, and you've taken my formation and Craig's formation, and we're having to pick 2 central midfielders, it has to be the 2 that have already been mentioned, Tillemans and Pratt.
Pratt has come through because Pratt last season, wasn't an obvious starter, and whether he's become that because of injuries or whatever, but I think he's earned that spot, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Tillemans as well. When he first came, he was a bit like I was talking about Castagna. Started really well, and we thought, wow, what a player. But as the season went on, he did tail off a little bit. Maybe it was the rigours of the Premier League, but he started this season very, very well. He looks the part again, and that might be because Dennis Pratt's there. They're good friends and what have you. So they have to be the 2 if we're going for this formation.
Okay, and let's have a look with Craig.
Well, based on as Mark quite rightly said, this crazy formation that we're being forced to squeeze players into. Thanks. I'm going to have to go with the 2. I'm going to have to go with 2 players that I had in my in the proper real formation of the midfield 3, and I'm going to go with Pratt and Tillemans. So full house.
A full house there. Well, I thought you were going to surprise me there, and when you were talking like that. But okay, so we've got there so far, we've got Casper in goal, 3 centre-backs, Fofana, Evans in the centre of the 3, and Soyuncu, the 2 wing-backs, Pierre and Fuchs, which is the big surprise of the evening, and Pratt and Tillemans making up that central midfield. So we've then got, which I think is 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. I'm sorry, 9, sorry, with Casper. You've then got what the striker playing off the striker, if you like. I don't know. Is this what they call the fake number 10? That always confuses me. But we're playing. I mean, I think we know who the striker's going to be. So the guy that's playing off there, go on. You're going to go. Tell me you're going to go for Perez, Craig. Please say you're going to go for Perez.
Oh, I'd love to. Even if it's
Brad's shaking his head there. Brad is shaking his head.
Yeah, just to go against the fact that the two of them have ganged up to put Fuchs in there.
Yes.
But no, I mean, if we're playing this this formation, this rarely seen formation, I'm going to go with you got to go with Maddison.
Maddison, I think it was a Maddison or a Barnes option possibly, but yeah. So Maddison, let's see. I bet Mark might go for.
Yeah, some people have got formations that allow them both to play, but that's for another day.
Yeah, if we're talking a false number 10, it's got to be Maddison. I think he looks the part when he's playing just behind Vardy there. So yeah, for me, Maddison, 100%.
Yeah. Well, let's see, the guy who sort of caused all the trouble in the first place when he picked this formation. Not that I agreed with him at all, obviously, but he paid me. Brad, who are you going to put in this?
Yeah, that's it. Lay the blame on me when you're the one that ripped it out the hat. You're the one that picked it out the 3. You could have done any of them.
And I'm going to overrule you all in a minute and pick Perez, I'll tell you.
Well, I was just about to say him, but now you've said that, I'm going to have to go with these guys. Have twisted my arm into Maddison. I was going to put my best friend in there, but now you've said that, I'm almost surprised that Craig, just to get a bit of revenge in the middle, because we went for the experience over the youth, didn't go with Hamza Chowdhury to go in there with someone. Just really messed it up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so. Am I going to? You have to wait. Am I going to overrule? Am I going to pick Perez? That's the question. I'm so tempted to. But I know Brad will never talk to me again.
I'll tell you what. We'll put him left back in the under 18, so you can go and start on their side. We'll put him there.
Andy Medhurst has gone for Barnes there. So, anybody out there going to give a shout out for Perez? I'm asking. I'm waiting. But I don't think it's going to happen, is it? But I tell you what is going to happen.
No.
Let's go for clue number 4, Brad. And let's see how we're doing on this. So 1, 2, 3. Clue number 4.
Okay, so one player who played for Leicester, he'd already played. He played for the opposition on this day. He was a former Fox at the time. There was also another player in the opposition camp who became a former Fox. So just to clarify, when we played this team, one had already played for us and one would go on to play for us. So they're both former Foxes in the right, but at that time, in that current time in '96, one would go on to play for Leicester and one had already played for Leicester. So there was 2 former Foxes in that starting lineup for our opponents. I nearly slipped and said who it was then.
And no, don't do that. After we've done all this work, and 2 years after this game, which was in 1996, one player would go on to miss a penalty for his national team.
Yeah.
Question is, which national team was it? The team we played for was going for a record. I think it was actually a team record, their team record, I think it was. And obviously, clue 1, it was against the Premier League teams. It was in the Premier League in the 96-97 season. So, interesting. Now, for this one, I think I can get you all in here, because I think on this formation we need one guy up front, and I don't think, having left him off number 10, that you're going to sort of stick Perez in there. Could be an Nacho, but we all go in for the guy who likes to party.
Slimani.
Admiral Musquet, the youngster, stick him up there. What are you saying, Mark?
Jamie Vardy every day of the week.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
one guy's talking sense, Mark. I'm so glad you came along. These two, honestly, I don't know what they're talking about. But I'm surprised Craig.
Yeah.
I bet in Craig's team he's actually got Perez and Slimani as the front two. I bet you. I bet you. So
They're the two
that's Vardy. We're going for the Vardy for Mark, and I presume that you guys are going the same as well.
Yeah, definitely Vardy.
Definitely. So just to recap then, this is going to be our strongest team as and when everybody is fit or everybody isn't suspended. We are going for Casper in goal, back three for Farner, Evans and Soyuncu. Wing backs, we've got Piera and Fuchs. Defensive midfielder, Ndidi. A couple of midfielders there, Pratt and Tillemans. Madison in the fake number 10 role. Should have been Perez. And Vardy up front, of course, is got to be Vardy, hasn't it? Although somebody's saying here, under lone striker. Ooh, I'm not sure.
Who's been drinking? Who's been drinking saying him as the lone striker? I know he's quick, but come on.
Yeah, and this was a good shout as one of the wing backs, but Albrighton. I mean, I love Albrighton, and he's a great squad player. He always frightens me when he plays that role. As a couple of times when he did it a few seasons ago, he did give a couple of penalties away, but there we go. So quickly, let's just get in clue number 5, and then we're going to go round and see what your teams would have been. Had you had the choice, and Brad not bulldozed us all into having his choice. But clue number 5, Brad.
Yeah, so clue number 5, Leicester won the game 2-0, and in front of on that season it was their highest home attendance. Now I did say it to Chris on the vid before when I discussed this with him, but I know it was 21,000. I think it was 345. I might be wrong, but I know it was our highest home attendance of that season. So the game finished 2-0 to Leicester, and it was our highest home attendance of the 96-97 season.
Well, I'll tell you. Oops, let me just press the right button there. I'll tell you what, Mark and Craig. He comes with half the information. He hasn't even got the exact attendance. I mean, how if you're going to do a job, let's do it right. Yeah, I think he is. So just running through all the clues again very quickly. Clue 1, it was against a Premier League team in the 96-97 season. Clue number 2, the team we played for was going for a record for them. Clue number 3, 2 years after this game, one player would go on to miss a penalty for his national team. But what national team? And clue number 4, one player who played for the opposition would go on to play for the Foxes, while one already had. And clue number 5, Leicester won the game 2-0 in front of what would be our highest league attendance of the season, even though Brad isn't 100% sure what it is. But we are going to go now. We're going to go now, and so that's what we've come up with: a 5-1-2-1-1. But did you, Brad? Would that have been your team, or was there somebody different you picked? Obviously, it was your formation.
Yeah, I mean, essentially for what it was. I know. Like we say, like Sky might show that up differently, and BT might say it was a 3 in midfield, which essentially it is. But to give a definition to their positions and where they would have sat in front of the players, I mean, technically, it is basically a 5. It's basically a 5-4-1 without the wingers. But the way they'd line up naturally in their defensive unit, it sounds a bit malfungled more than it is, but that is the strongest team I think we've got. Oh well, Perez, get off the internet, stop coming on Facebook using and saying your name. Right?
I don't say whoever it is won't admit to who they are. I think it might be Perez. I think it might be Perez himself.
But yeah, I think purely like Mark says, because we haven't seen Castagna on the left, I had to go with the experience because I have been singing his praises. He's a toss up between Justin and Fuchs. I just think more for the fact that we know he's got clever knowledge of the game and experience and knows how to manage himself when he maybe can't keep up with the pace and he's tiring a bit. I wouldn't change too much to my own starting 11.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much my 11. I think,
pretty much
unfortunately,
yours
sorry
there.
guys, I feel bad now. I feel bad after doing all this.
I'm sure they won't let you forget it, mate. I'm sure they won't let you forget it. Okay, then, Mark. Let's have a look. Then, what you went for, if my memory serves me right, a 5-1-3-1.
Yeah. So the back five would have been exactly how we've picked. So the three centre halves, Pereira and Fuchs on the left. Then I'd have had Ndidi holding. And then my three, I'd have had T. Elements in the middle of that three, sat back slightly, more centre midfield. And I'd have had Maddison and Barnes on the flanks, interchanging, swapping over, and then Vardy up front.
Well, that's, again, not a bad team, is it? Not a bad team at all. And
no, I think Barnes has to get in. I mean, there's a lot of doubters of Barnes, and there's a lot of people saying this, that, and he can't finish and all this kind of thing. But he's coming on leaps and bounds, and he's one of my favourite players at the minute. He excites me. When he gets the ball, he always looks to do something. We've got too many players in the team that look to stand on the ball, pass it back. But when he gets it, he turns to the opposition and he goes.
I mean, is this the reason why people with Harvey Barnes and saying like, oh God, he's shot and he's missed again, he's shot, but he's actually taking the shots?
Yeah, he's in the position, isn't he? Yes, he needs to sharpen up, but he's getting better and better and better. And I've seen a big difference in him since Brendan's gone. And for me, go on.
No, I want to say if you want to go, no, if you're saying, well, the guy's always missing, but the guy's always shooting, better to have that than somebody who's, going to get into a position and pass the ball and
exactly. Like I said, it does really frustrate me about Leicester when you watch them play. They're always stepping on the ball and passing it back. We're in some good positions sometimes, and then it stops and it goes backwards. But with Harvey Barnes, he always looks to go forwards and he looks to create something. Yes, he's got a little bit of way to go with his finishing and his end products, but he's getting into the positions. He's taking on the defenders. Defenders are scared of him. When he goes at him, he causes problems. So for me, he has to be a starter in our 11.
Brilliant. Again, I an excellent team. That just shows sort of the squad depth we've got there. Andy Medhurst has come in with Arsenal. So you got Rob's gone for Villa, Rob's gone for Man United as well. Andy's gone for Arsenal. I will say none of you are right. So interesting. Thanks a lot, Mark. We'll come back to you in a second. Now then, the font of all knowledge. The man who's got his Go on.
The Christmas tree. So for me,
a bit early to have the Christmas tree up, but let's go for it.
Well, what I've gone for is to try and get our most creative players on the pitch. I think obviously I'm biased, so I think this is the most exciting formation. So I've had to sacrifice Johnny Evans to make it work. So obviously I've got Casper and I've got the back four is Ricardo, Fafana, Kaglar, Soyuncu, and Castagna. In front of that, we have a three, which is Ndidi, Tielemans, and Pratt. In front of them, we have a two, which is Maddison and Barnes, and then Vardy. So for me, that gives us if we sit back, you've got a back four with Wilf in front, and then you've got a front five, really, of Tielemans, Pratt, Barnes, Maddison, and Vardy, all our dangerous players. Plus, if you add to that, you've got the two wing backs bombing on as well. I think for me, that gets all our exciting players into the team. I didn't have Harvey Barnes in before, I couldn't fit him in, but that formation I think will work. So I sacrificed Evans and went with that 4-3-2-1.
What I think this has proved tonight, if nothing else, is that no matter how many football fans of the same club you put together, we all come up with different teams, and this is why I think we we love football, and this is why we love. There'll always be somebody that has a moan. When we said I wouldn't have picked that team, you know, but great input from all of you. Andy has gone. Well, he's a Craig fan here. And
Good man, Andy.
He's going with Craig. Bit of a bromance going on there, I think.
Just out of interest, Chris, what would your side be?
I didn't pick one because like I say, I wouldn't have. I was going to have to sort of make the final decisions there. That said, if you're going to put me on the spot, I have to be honest with you. I would go with the same formation that Brad went with. Sorry, guys, but that is the formation. And I would probably not have Fuchs in there. I would have now, Craig. Remember, I can do this, Craig. Remember, I did tell you before. I can do that to you. No, I would have gone with the basically the same as Brad. So it's three at the back. Then you've either got wing backs or sort of, you know, more across the midfield. Totally that team that we've come up with. As I say, I would have just had Castagna instead of Fuchs because I just worry. Like I say, great, and he's done a fantastic job for us, but I'm just worried about his legs at the moment.
So you'd have left Barnes out as well, Chris, yeah?
I'd have left out Fuchs. I'd have left out who, sorry?
Left out Barnes as well. Harvey Barnes.
I love Barnes, and I think Barnes coming on later in the game with his speed is going to scare defenders that are tired. You know, so if you've got a team that the back four are getting a little bit, you know, they've been defending a lot during the game, they're a little bit tired. Bring Barnes on, and you know he'll like you said, he'll terrify them. He really will. Sorry, Craig, I think said that. But yeah, I would obviously have it. We said it before, didn't we, Brad, about the players that we didn't pick would be on the subs bench. But I love Barnes, but you've got to start Maddison for his creativity.
Yeah, and look, if it hadn't been a defensive back line of four, we'd have been going, you know, and say the three at the back would have won because of how well it's done since it's been implemented by Rodgers. Literally, you've been then going, well, does Pereira come in instead of Under on the right, and then you go Barnes on the left? Harvey Barnes would have got in my team if it had just been a back line of 3 and 5 in midfield. It's just purely because he seems to be adapting to a new role of becoming more attacking, and it is fantastic to see him starting. I just couldn't squeeze him into a team. Like Craig sacrificed Evans at the back, I sacrificed Harvey as an attacking player to shore up our defence. That's just purely why Harvey doesn't get into my 11. He would be number 12. As Craig said, if he could play 5 up front with his formations he was trying earlier with 37 players, he would have been number 12 on my team. He honestly would have been. But I can't argue against why a lot of people would put Harvey in there. It's just I chose to shore up the defence over the glamour of our attack, which is good to see. We've got a glamorous attack.
I think it like I said, you know, it shows that this game is all about opinions, and you know, you've got 4 guys here, and we all come up with, you know, a different starting 11 and different, you know, different formations. It also shows the strength of depth, that, you know, you're not looking at our team and going, that guy automatically gets in. You know, I'm a lover of Mendy. I think, you know, he's been much maligned over the time that he's been with us. He's had the injuries as well, but he's come in and he shows why we bought him in the first place. And I don't know whether the extension he signed was for a year or not, but we need to get him tied down sort of even longer. And I feel sorry for him because indeed you can't not play Ndidi, can you? That's the thing. But, you know, Mendy is so good. But again, it just shows at the moment the depth we've got in there.
Yeah, Mendy's done really well. I'm not a fan of Mendy's, and I think Wilfried's a far better player. But yeah, he's come on great leaps and bounds, Mendy, and yeah, I think he deserves a new contract, and he's a more than adequate backup to Ndidi.
Well, I wish we could award a prize. We can't award any prizes because I haven't got any money. But if I had a prize for the best comment, which I think somebody does on the TV, the best comment, I would have to give this person. Oh, not that person. That's the wrong. That was Andy's guess from her. I would have to give this guy the prize for the comment of the night.
I think he needs to have some whiskey or whatever.
I'm gonna cut that out and have that framed and send that
Is
over
he,
to you, Brad.
Is,
Send that
is
over.
Perez on your bench, Brad?
Yeah, in the under-18s when they go and play their games. He's not on. He's not on my bench for the. He's definitely not on the bench for our 11 or the.
Is he on your bench, Craig?
Brad, well, yeah, I mean, Brad prefers the experienced players, so that's no surprise because I think he's under 28. So, yeah, Perez would get on the bench, I think. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? Would you put him on?
No, I don't like Perez. He can go to the under 18s, like Brad says, with Iheanacho.
I think Brad and Mark would have Lineker on the bench if they could have, you know. But what about Iheanacho? Another bone of contention. Is he on the bench?
No, I prefer Slimani.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd have to go with Iheanacho, I'm afraid. I'd have to promote him from the under-18s if all else failed, because I just don't see us playing to that sort of strength. But on a quality basis, you make a good point as well, Mark. But I think on a personal basis, I'd just have to go Iheanacho. But it's a toss-up between me and which one of them two you'd put on the bench. Can we go with both? We put both on the bench.
I think technically you can do, but just for the sake of this and a discussion, no. Craig, who would... you said Slimani earlier. Was it a joke, or would you have him on the bench over Iheanacho?
I do like. I mean, I like both players. You know, for me, you saw my formation. It's all about scoring goals. So, you know, they're both on for me. I'll sacrifice another. You know what? Let's leave Fuchs off the bench.
Great.
He can go and play in the over 50s in the over 50s team. But
I do love
we've had a few. Yeah. Oh, you got to love Fuchs. You can't not love him, can you? You know, and I mean, I know he's going to go over to America eventually. I mean, his wife must get fed up with him saying every year, "This is my last year, love. This is my last year." But it'd be lovely to see him get like an ambassador role or something. You know, maybe our American ambassador. Who knows? Who knows? But right, so let's have a look then. We've got some correct answers for the quiz. Oh, that was what I was going to say. Brad knows the answer. Are you having a guess, Mark?
I hope so.
I haven't got a clue. I really haven't.
No, in fairness, nor did I.
If I told you the person... So go on, Mark.
No, don't say anything. Don't say anything at the moment, Brad. No more clues at the moment. Let's see. Does the
I'm not sure that they were in the Premiership at the time, but I'd say Derby County.
Okay, and Craig, the font of all knowledge.
I'm torn between two, but purely from the penalty miss. I'm gonna, because it could be two players that I can think of that missed penalties. I could be completely wrong here. I'm gonna go Blackburn.
You're gonna go for what team?
Because I know
Blackburn.
And Batty played for Blackburn, and both missed penalties for England. But I may be way off, but I'll go Blackburn.
You go for Blackburn, right? Well, we've got two correct answers. We have got two correct answers. So let's just get Brad in, and we will then reveal the answer if I can get this working. So go for it, Brad.
Well, Craig actually got the player correct with one of his guesses. It was David Batty who missed the penalty, as we know, against Argentina in the 98 World Cup. Score was 2-0, as you've seen on the screen, and it was Newcastle United that it was. Well done to Rob, who guessed it. The record they were on for was their 8th record win in a row. We beat them 2-0, and the 2 former players, the one that had played for us at that time was Paul Kitson, and obviously we all know the Super Les Ferdinand ended up playing for us
Sir Les.
later on
Sir
in the
Les.
life.
Yes. Well, I can say 2 people got it right there. Rob got it first. It literally just beat Andy. Andy came up like 2 seconds after him. So it was Newcastle. Craig, and well, you you're nearly there, Craig. Nearly there.
At least I got Batty, so
Mark was like me.
Yeah, you was right on that one.
You got Batty. Yeah. And Mark, you were like me. I was looking at the clues as they were coming through and actually writing them up, and I didn't Google it because I wanted to see where, and I had no idea. No idea at all.
I had no idea either. I wouldn't have got that. And
no.
Andy and Rob have obviously got access to Google, so that's why they got it.
No. Well, the one thing we have agreed with, if nothing else, is that Perez doesn't start and Inacho might just make it onto the subs bench.
All the balls. We haven't decided yet.
What do you... Andy says, what do we win? Brad's going to come round and he's going to do you a spring clean your house for you.
And Chris said he's going to give them a tenner each for each correct answer as well.
Which Brad is going to donate. Yeah. But hey, thanks everybody. This has been the longest show to date. But I loved it. I love the fact that we all disagreed. I love the fact that we've all got our own opinions. So I want to say thank you very much, Brad, first of all, for setting the questions. Thanks for doing that. And thanks for joining us. And I will see you next Sunday, because obviously now the Leicester-Liverpool game is live on Sky, 7:15 kickoff, bloody hell, on Sunday night. I'm going to miss one man and his dog again, aren't I?
Yeah, definitely. I think tonight's just proved with all 4 of us coming up with sort of similar teams barring a few players that we've got that adds to the point that what a depth in squad we've got, because I could see all the other 3 lineups that you guys came up with playing a point at some part in the season. It just shows the quality we really have got. So tonight's been really interesting. I've enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Brad, and I shall see you next Sunday.
I shall see you then.
Cheers. And Mark, thank you as well for coming along. You didn't get called out. Congratulations, as I say, again on your new job. Thankfully, you didn't get called out because it meant somebody would have popped off. So
I'm on call all the way through the night. So hopefully, 3 o'clock.
Well, I hope it's not going to be a dead end job for you. So bum. But you got another week off yet again, mate, because we haven't got a European game next week. So it's the week after that. And we'll be previewing.
I might just come and hijack yours and Brad's show.
You'd be more than welcome to hijack any show, mate. As long as you say you love Inacho.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us, Mark. Take care of yourself. Hope you have a quiet night and you don't get called out. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks when we look at the. Oh, he's gone already. When we look at the Braga return leg, Craig, we're on for Tuesday.
We are indeed. Yes,
and we've got
excitement we can talk about that time.
Yeah, we've got Liverpool coming up, so we'll be looking at the Liverpool game, which, like I say, is now on the Sunday. They've lost a few players, I believe, with the coronavirus.
I did hear that they were looking at an emergency loan for Fuchs. But whether there's any truth in that.
I'll tell you what, I'm just thinking Perez as well. Like, we just get rid of half our team there, couldn't we? But thanks very much for anyway, Craig, and I shall see you on Tuesday.
Pleasure, really enjoyed it.
Cheers. Yeah. And thanks to all you guys for watching, for all your comments and for taking part in the quiz, which Brad put together for us. Like I say, next week it will be Tuesday for the pre-match, or the Tuesday night show. So we'll be looking at Liverpool. Next Friday would normally be back with the opposition view, but I'm in hospital on the Friday, so we might have to shift it to pre-recorded or even on the Saturday, but we'll let you know as we go through the week. But thanks a lot, as I say, for watching us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe, like, and then follow us. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. All the information is coming up. Please give us a follow. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Do some shopping with the missus. Keep her happy, and we will see you next week. And remember, stay safe. There we go.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here, X-Fox in the Box. Watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV and follow them on social media for all the up-to-date Leicester City news and information. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.